I am very excited for The Expanse. I'm a huge Expanse fan. And the new game that they are working on is like an Expanse game with some Mass Effect vibes that dives into space RPG enough to give you the space feeling, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be so much that it's complicated and overblows the game. I'm going to play the soundtrack in the background of this because I freaking love it. This is a third-person RPG. And it's focused mainly on the same kinds of things you'd expect from like the Mass Effect games or the Starfield games, in that it is very character driven. So like for people who are watching this channel, we are very into systemic games in space. A lot of Star Citizen, plenty of Elite Dangerous, No Man's Sky, some other stuff like some people from Ashes of Creation come and check this stuff out. So this is a little bit of a different game, but honestly, it's one of the ones that I come more from. I like to make dialogue choices, develop relationships, see party members, make decisions that actually have consequences. And supposedly in this game, you can actually get your party members killed. Very Mass Effect in vibes. So I'm going to read the introduction for you guys because I want to do a proper introduction to this game so we can move on and talk about the news whenever it comes out. It reads that this is a third-person sci-fi action RPG set in the universe of The Expanse, where the tenuous balance of power between Earth, Mars, and the Belt is on the brink of collapse, and trust is a scarce commodity. For those who don't know the universe, it is set kind of in our future, like a few hundred years, or a couple hundred years, 24th century, but it's not super high-tech. It's very much struggling to live in space kind of vibes. Energy, oxygen, heat are all a premium. And politics are at the forefront. Most people know it for the game and the books, though, and I can confirm this actually takes part during the Leviathan Wakes book, and I think the second book, which, if you have not paid attention to that, is a terrible time for the Expanse universe. It's when Leviathan wakes, everything kind of goes terrible, and you in this game actually end up in the same place. Everything is going terrible at the same time that Holden does. Big surprise. I don't know if you meet him. They didn't necessarily say that. But they do a lot of discussion about this throughout the years. Like, some good details. I can actually pull up here. I could probably find it. They mention here about the ability to fly spaceships in this game. Here we go. In The Expanse, the ships are known for the flip and burn maneuver. To slow down, the ship needs to rotate 180 degrees and turn the engines on again. Even though you won't pilot Gemini directly, the way the ship moves through space will stay faithful to the show. So, they don't actually... They straight up come out and say things like this that are pretty, I think, useful details of the game, but they say them in like Twitter posts and things that don't really get out. So you're not flying your ship in this game, but you're flying around on it, which is very Mass Effect. And somebody asks the question down here, even though we won't pilot the ship, can we still walk around it and interact with our crew? And they do answer yes. It's going to be your base in your home. You will be free to explore it between missions and chat with your crew. So again, very, very much like your typical RPG in this instance. But you can find other places where they start sharing some information. The asteroid belt is a region of solar system located between Mars and Jupiter. Asteroids vary in size from hundreds of kilometers to a dozen meters in diameter. In The Expanse Osiris Reborn, you will be able to explore not only human colonies on large asteroids, but old depleted mines on the smaller ones as well. We know about a couple of colonies in the asteroids there already, some of which you probably don't want to be to, but they released a video that actually shows...
Ground control to Private J. Says you daydreaming again?
They show some of the environments here.
See, so we just need to shoot a few more unlucky bastards, and done. Us two merry mercs can finally have some shore leave. Where are you hoping we dock? How about Ganymede? Fresh veggies from the domes, no damn tube protein, and some
crazy so Mars, I believe, right? No, Ganymede is one of the moons. But the other locations, I think Phoebe is an asteroid place, and Eros is an asteroid. So those are probably two of the places they're talking about.
Other options? Series? Might look a bit grim sometimes. And OPA extremists are working overtime to set the station on fire. But it is the largest port in the belt, with a bar guide the size of the UNN's desk jockey manual. You told me you were tired of bars just yesterday.
They're literally just telling us what the locations in the game are in this video.
I'm tired of drinking with Luciana.
Oh, Phoebe's a moon too.
She remembers too much and me
Eros and Ceres,
too
right?
little. Forget Ceres then.
Don't say it.
My suggestion?
Don't say it.
Eros.
So, that's setting up the stage for the game. Again, if you follow the series, you know that's not a good place to start. I'm going to be honest, dude. I don't think the show does enough to sell just how bad the situation at Eros is. It's so bad. It's like one of the worst things I think I've ever heard of people doing to people. And I'm wondering how they're going to show that in the game. But it's clearly going to be a pretty intense time. Now, a lot of folks are probably wondering who's making this game. Owlcat Studios is well known for their RPGs, primarily their CRPGs. They've made games like Rogue Trader in the Warhammer 40k series. I think they made a Pathfinder game, if I'm not mistaken. But they are very well known for their writing particularly. So when it comes to this sort of a project that's not just whether or not it's going to be a fun game, it's is the writing and characters going to be good? That's actually the strength of this company. So we're more looking at this from a perspective of, is this going to be a good action adventure game, because they usually make CRPGs. And I don't know, it sounds like they've got some good ideas here in terms of the amount of risk they want to be in the game, the environments that you're visiting, the story and how the importance of it plays out. And bringing space to life, man. They actually talk a lot about how they're trying to make it feel spacey, even if it's still not quite that deep in space sim territory. And yeah, they actually have a book. There's a book, a novel, a full-on novel written by a pretty famous author. I think it's a series. But yeah, listen to this little interview they had where they talk about some of the challenges of this specific type of games development.
One of the biggest fears of an astronaut doing extravehicular activity, or EVA, is somehow becoming detached and floating away.
Sorry. Jump scare.
Hi, I'm Leroy Chow.
Self-published.
I'm a former NASA astronaut and ISS commander. Owlcat Games asked me to help.
Pretty sure it's wait, who's publishing? I believe it's Alcon. No, Alcon's not a publisher, right? They're just the studio that owns the rights. No, I think the Owlcat is publishing themselves.
Help them to create what it's like to live and work in space. And then it's really a challenge to take that experience and make it into a realistic game. And that's where their team stepped in.
We wanted to strike the right balance, realism grounded in science fiction, not simulation.
During real spacewalks, we actually use tethers to keep ourselves attached to the vehicle. In a reactive game, that would be too clumsy, and so mag boots is a creative way to kind of compromise.
Bro, the fact that they're bringing them, they couldn't make this game without the mag boots, right? It's such a perfect IP to make for a space game. It's literally, I think we were talking about this maybe 3 or 4 years ago. There is no better IP to make a space game out of. It's got the hype from other types of media. It's got the political intrigue to make it interesting to people who aren't just there for space. It's got the action. It's got mystery, aliens, friggin' different locations, tons of diversity. Like, it's just a really good opportunity to make a space game that people will actually enjoy. And the universe was originally built to be a game. Come on. We just returning home.
And keep it realistic, but also be able to be reactive. But the fear is the same, becoming detached somehow and drifting away. And that's just one example.
I like that detail of how weird they feel.
And drifting away.
Whoa!
And that's just one example. Even firearms would behave differently in space. Recoil and ballistics.
The particle effects, though.
And that's just one example. Even firearms would behave differently in space. Recoil and ballistics would also be different.
Jesus.
People think.
Dude, was that an arm?
In space. Recoil and ballistics would also be different.
No, I think it's just. I thought his freaking arm was flying off up here. Like, what are you shooting?
People think about space as silent, but silence can mean danger. For example, inside of the spacesuit, there's a steady hum of the fan that's blowing oxygen over your face. The people at Owlcat Games did some research and figured out that vibrations caused by shots inside of a vehicle would translate to the hull and likely be felt through the mag boots.
We love the idea, but had to adapt.
Love detail.
Realism would mean almost no sound in combat. No vacuum, you hear more than astronauts do, but far less than in atmosphere. What you hear is what your character feels. Breath, comes, vibrations. The tension stays, and so does the fear.
I think that was the first audio I've heard of the gameplay so far. Sounds a little bit like the timing was off. Dude, it really does. I mean, I know that it gets a little annoying and cliche to say it looks like Mass Effect so often, but that over-the-shoulder sort of look in a space and sci-fi environment, it's hard not to remember that. And this even looks like one of these stupid Geth snipers that I hated. Ouch.
The mission crews train for months, even years together. The commander is chosen first and sets the tone. Just like in the game, trust takes time and shared experience.
The ship is crew's home. To craft the right atmosphere, we focus on the smallest of details. Life in space changes tastes. Astronauts often crave spices just to feel such sensations again. On pink water meals created from what could actually be grown in orbit. And in the same spirit, you'll even hear your companions discussing food and ingredients on the ship.
I think this stuff's important.
We hope that our approach to blending realism with gameplay considerations will make players experience something engaging and truly immersive.
Dude, love the original sound, like theme song for the show is really good, but that's a good main theme for the game they've got there too. So this was like a dive into it. I didn't want to get crazy into the details. There are a lot of details, but it's best to know that this is a third-person RPG. You get character customization. When you do, you get a sibling. I think it's a sibling. Who joins you in the battle. They have their own characterizations and personality. You also have party members who are in your group, and many of them will be romanceable. Here are two that they announced the other day. Zafar, who says space doesn't seem so vast when you're around. Aww. Gross, Zafar. And Regina, who says you are the only target I always miss. I'll take that one. That's it's actually pretty good. So they've got, I'll get that a like. So party members, social environments in your spaceship as the home base. You got different locations you're flying to with your spaceship. You're not flying the spaceship, but you're living inside of it. Obviously, they want to focus somewhat on the immersion and the complications of space life. So they're building in like specific ingredients, zero-G combat, mag boots. I think it's a really nice, casual, single-player experience for players who are interested in space stuff. There's a couple additional details here and there, but as I said, I'm not going to touch on everything. S.A. Corey, they gave out a little statement about the game as well. These are the people who wrote the original book. They don't have any power to approve or deny a video game, but they were approached as a courtesy for this one and did talk to the studio mostly in the early ages of production. They are not hands-on in this project at all, but seem to have a broad stroke idea of what to expect and seem to approve. One of them is a gamer and was very happy to hear which studio will be developing the game. He liked their past games and specifically said their writing is usually good. So one of the authors of The Expanse likes the writing of the people who are taking on the game for The Expanse. That's good. They also said there might be someone from the show's writing room taking part in the game, but we're not certain. They said they're looking forward to play. So, best thing to take away from all this, if you want a sci-fi lore or realm to be involved in, an IP to follow, I know as I was growing up, for me, a lot of it was Halo. For a lot of people, it was Star Wars. You kind of find something to latch onto. For many of us, it's probably Star Citizen, but The Expanse, I think, is a solid place to put, you know, a couple of your marbles. They're making games, they're making shows, they're making books. There's clearly a huge community, so like I think this is going to pick up and keep going over the years. Telltale also made a game a couple years ago for this. This is not the last we're going to see of The Expanse, I think, and I hope this game pops off because it, like, maybe somebody will pick the show back up too. Either way, this has been a bit of a look into a Expanse Osiris Reborn. I'm happy to be done with this introductory because from now on, we're just going to tackle the news as it comes, and I'm going to make it a regular thing to cover on the channel. Yay, dude! Who's not excited for that? It's freaking Expanse! But I'm not. Like I said, this is just in a transition as I switch from being a Star Citizen creator fully over to being a Grand Theft Auto creator. Sorry about it. It's like Mass Effect, but no blue aliens to romance. You don't know that yet.